Welcome to episode 195 of Folks Talking Sports. I am Chris Gardner of the Houston Round Ball Review. With me is Alvin Franklin, Chief Revenue Officer for the Houston Athletics, as well as Laquita Thompson from Extreme Sports Management, and Mr. A.D. Moore from AdMax Corner. Everyone, how are you doing?
Excellent. Just trying to stay
Hey,
cool, man. Come on.
yeah, that.
Alvin, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. It's always a pleasure, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And this is Alvin's first time on this show, and with my colleagues A.D. Moore and Laquita Thompson. So, Alvin, well, first things first, let me put on here as a dedicated supporter of Folk Talking Sports and the Houston Round Bar Review and Houston Athletics. You know this person, Alvin. Miss Wanda Polk says good evening to Alvin, and the FTS crew. So, everybody watching, thank you for watching the show on YouTube, on two platforms, the Houston Round Bar Review YouTube channel, as well as the AdMax Corner YouTube channel, Facebook, as well as hopefully LinkedIn, even though I forgot to pre-sync that destination. But anyway, Alvin, for those who do not know, give everyone a little bit of your bio about what you do at Houston and how long have you been at UH?
Chris, been in Houston right at be 3 years in September 1. So 3 years have flown by, but it's been nothing but a pleasure to be here and represent this great institution. So in my role, I serve as our Chief Revenue Officer, where I oversee everything really that has a way of generating revenue. And so that's fundraising, our corporate sponsorships, ticket sales, ticket operations, really involved in roster management and NIL, has some involvement in our outside events and other mechanisms.
And this is an indication. I heard this. This is, you're about to, year three. You made some changes in terms of the office setting, furniture. Just why'd you do that?
Multiple layers to answer that question. The first is, I got here in the fall of 23. I originally got here to oversee our Cougar Pride team, and we were a team of six. Had a vision from day one that we needed to double our staff. Really need even more, but if we could double our staff, it gives us a chance to be really, really successful when it comes to being more outbound and hitting the pavement when it comes to actual donor engagement and donor reach. We as we continue to bring more donors to the fold, we need more staff members to align with our Cougar Athletic Rep system to make sure that we can provide the utmost customer service. So the first reason was we added more staff on the Cougar Pride team. The second
Okay.
was it's really a holistic project. Last fall our football program moved out and moved over to the Football Operations Center, Memorial Herman Football Operations Center. And so with that, it created a lot of office space and other spaces within the building from team rooms, from meeting rooms, position rooms. And so we're able to utilize, another probably 50,000 square foot of space in the athletic or more in the athletics alumni center as we continue as an entire athletic department continue to morph our administration to look more like a P4 administration.
How have things changed since you first started at UH to now?
Wow. That's a really good question. I would say when I first started, we were walking into the Big 12. And I use the word walking because I don't think, our fans really knew what this was going to look like. I think our university as a whole, everybody was so excited, but everybody was still kind of, in a way, I like to use the term, dip a toe in the water. We were dipping our toes in the water on the shallow end in that first year. And I think now we're at the point where at the deep end, we're jumping in the pool. And there were things that we were trying to do. If you think about whiteboard sessions and true ideation, there were a lot of ideas floating around that first year. We can do this, if that. and now those things are turning into reality. And I think that we're professionalizing our operation and being way more efficient than we were 3 years ago.
AD, Laquita, you have any questions? Because I got plenty. So
Yeah. So one of
Jump
my
at it.
first, because I have a lot too, but I'll just kind of stick with where things are and where they're headed. I want to know, what is your viewpoint? What do you think about the whole saving college sports referendum that's on the table now with the federal government? How do you feel about that? And do you feel like that will be a plus for college sports and for the Big 12, or not really so? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I would say this: college athletics has been around for hundreds of years, and we've seen this thing take umpteenth amount of turns when it comes to evolution of different eras when it comes to college sports. And one thing that has stood firm is we've made it through. Every change that has come our way, we've made it through. Right now, honestly, my viewpoint is not so much that I don't have a vote, is more so we got to get to a point where we establish some true guardrails and true rules, and something that we can stand by that lasts for a period of time. The last especially 2 years have been rough because the rules keep changing every 3 to 4 months. And so it's hard to you to get a flow of really how you're going to operate. And when it comes to an administration, you're trying to explain that people don't understand. There's so many layers to this. You have a board of regents, you have a university president and a president's cabinet. I mean, you have so many different constituents and stakeholders that you're trying to get alignment with and buy-in when it comes to every rule. And by the time we get to the finish line and explaining, what our path, what University of Houston's path is related to any legislation. By the time we get internal buy-in, we haven't even explained it fully to our fan base yet of how we're combating whatever we're trying to accomplish, and then it changes again. And so when you're trying to help, you're telling your fans, hey, I need you guys to be all in with this right now. And this is our course of action. That's been really difficult the last 2 years, especially with things just keep changing. So right now, the biggest thing around the Protect College Sports Act is, hey, let's get to a decision, and then we can figure out how we need to navigate through this. But we need to be able to create some consistency.
Very much agreed with the consistency part. Just reading some things earlier, I was just reading and looking at, and it's still so chaotic.
Yep.
And I know for the position that you hold,
Yes.
with what you know of what you have planned, and how you're working in your position, how do you see the University of Houston sitting in the Big 12 financial wise and being able to draw in some of the best talent in the country?
I think we right now we have a really good chance. We're generating more revenue than we ever have before. I mean, I just look at fiscal year 26, merchandising licensing record, corporate sponsorship record, ticket sales record, concessions record. Our fiscal year ends August 31st, and we're trending to another fundraising record. It's knock on wood, some things come through for us. I mean, we're generating more dollars than ever before. And I'll be honest, in my seat, we ain't even scratched the surface of what this could be. There's still so many donors for us to get to. We're right now, we're in the red zone. I won't use the term goal line yet, but we're in the red zone right now with 10 to 15 companies that we've never had a relationship with when it comes to broad-based corporate sponsorships that could evolve into also NIL opportunities for our student athletes. Right now, the opportunities are endless. And that's the beautiful part of it when you think about the two major sports that everyone really, pays attention to, especially on the revenue side, is football and men's basketball. You can argue, you can say we can go toe-to-toe with anybody really nationally when it comes to football, men's basketball success combined right now, where we are with the roster, with the coaches that we have in place, not just the head coaches, but also the assistants that we have on those staffs. We can go toe-to-toe with anybody right now. And we hadn't even forget throwing your chips on the table. We didn't even play our cards yet.
AD, you have a question for Alvin?
Yeah, Alvin. I just ran across an article out of Politico. The Big Ten and the SEC, excuse me, has worked out apparently, and I'm not sure how much you are aware of this, has worked out a deal with this sports bill. You just alluded to the fact that you got to have some guidelines and so forth. From what you may or may not know about it, how does that will that affect the Big 12? Because it seems like there's only two conferences, and the Big 12 and everybody else is on the outside looking in when it comes down to the sports bill or what they're trying to get done.
Well, the biggest piece to the SEC with the SEC and Big Ten coming to an agreement was now we can move forward. It was always going to be if they weren't all in with this, there was always going to be an elephant in the room situation. Now with them being all in right now and voting for it, there's been some perception that the SEC and Big Ten are going to break away. Now they're willing to stay with us and us be still as we look at autonomy 4 now, or not autonomy 5, but we can start creating some guidelines. Those commissioners can work together to create guidelines for how we're going to move forward holistically, and that's the key, holistically.
Alvin, you went from Cougar Pride. Now you're doing the part of your duties, the Jim Nantz Leadership Society. How's that going? How are things going? What is that? Has that exceeded your expectations so far?
It has been wonderful. We're now we launched it last July,
And real quickly, I apologize for those who are tuning in. Explain to those what it is.
Okay. So we started a society last July named after Jim Nantz. First of all, shout out to Jim for his willingness to want to put his name on it and make a lead gift to get us started. But essentially, it's a mechanism for people to make philanthropic commitments over a 5-year period of $25,000 or more. So the entry level commitment is $25,000, which is $5,000 a year for 5 years. But the beautiful part of it is we don't tell you where to go. You choose as a donor where the money goes. And so we can tailor plans for donors to make sure the money matches their interests. I mean, Chris, I've been on your show before and I've told you, look, our fundraising style has changed completely. We no longer simply ask people for money. Those days are over. We say, these are our needs and priorities as a department. These are your interests as a donor. And let's figure out how to bring those two together and create a plan for you. And so if someone wants to support mental health, they can. They want to support nutrition, they can. If they want the money to go to a particular sport, it can. If they wanted to go to a particular facility project, it can. If they want to blend multiple entities together, and maybe they can do 5 different entities at $1,000 a piece for $5,000 over 5 years, they can. And so what we're doing is we want to create buy-in. I want people to feel like they're as if they're ownership, that they're buying stock. So the marketing kind of behind with Jim being the voice that he is do you want to have a voice? Join the Nantz Leadership Society. So we have over 350 members in the Nantz Leadership Society now. Our goal is to have 750 people, entities, with active memberships by September 1 of 28.
Have you, how can I phrase this? Are there life lessons you've learned in these going on 3 years that you have taken heed and improved upon?
Wow. I think the biggest thing is the understanding of pace. I can have a pace in my mind of how we want to move, but if everybody doesn't understand what we're trying to accomplish, they need to know not just what we're trying to accomplish, but the how and the why. If you can put out what you want to do, but if you don't explain how you're going to do it and why you are doing it, you won't get people to latch on and jump on the bus as quick as you want them to.
Now saying that, because this is what What is the hardest thing for you to do in your position in this landscape and in your position at U of H? Like, what is the thing that is just the toughest to get done, or the toughest to get everybody on board with? Like, for you, from your perspective.
People. So I think the toughest thing is getting people to understand uh, that our staff size is not comparable to other staffs in the country. We're growing, but we still have a lot of gaps that we need to fill. So when people see, hey, we got $1 million idea, and that $1 million idea may take 12 people to execute, and we may now have 4 people in that area. And so there could be some trial and error for that initiative. The first time we try it, it may just be okay, but the second time we do it, it may be excellent. So just people understand that there's got to be some patience there. Not for everything, but we're putting our best foot forward in everything that we do. The other thing is not knowing that we don't have the bodies and time is not on our side. And our time is not on anybody's side right now. This era right now is crazy, and everybody's trying to find every school that we compete against trying to find as many dollars as they can.
Right.
So making sure we don't leave dollars on the table. We get to the finish line on a multi-year partnership, making sure that if someone commits $100,000, just make it, did we do everything that we could to make sure we maximize on that ask or opportunity where it could have been 250,000 if we would have done X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
Making
Do
sure.
y'all feel like this is the last one? I'm sorry, D.
Oh, keep going.
With that said, do you feel like you are maximizing your community that surrounds the University of Houston?
We're growing it. And I
Mm.
don't know if people saw this summer, we had an initiative called Built by Houston. And that's our mantra now, Built by Houston. And it really called, Eddie, our fearless leader, he started saying something during some speaking engagements, really after the Final Four in 25. As he started going on some speaking engagements, he started really talking about the community, but he used the term, we're not just the University of Houston, we're the University for Houston.
Right.
And so he started to say that, and he said it one time, then 2 times. He's doubled down on it, and it's caught a lot of traction. We're doing all that we can to really captivate the community, and it's people, not just people that went to the university, people that are just alums. All Houstonians. We're Houston's team, and we want to make the city proud, the whole community proud.
AD, go ahead.
Alvin, keeping in light of that theme, your reception now, you've been in this position going on 3 years. Could you sort of talk about, has the welcome, is it easier for the welcome mat that the corporate America within the city of Houston? Is it easier for y'all to get through the door now? Exactly what kind of reception are you getting now? And are you being welcomed more or less?
Way more. But I'll be honest with you, most of them have, in all transparency, has just told us no one's ever knocked on the door before. So it was never that the answer was no. We never knocked. And so now, we have a seat at the table with these companies. Number one, because we're persistent. We have a message, and we're laying out a clear vision of not just where we are, but also where we're going and how it aligns. It's not just we're really, the term partnership, it's got to benefit both sides. And I think that's the piece of kind of what I talked about, the fundraising of, you can't just ask people for money. That was number one, we haven't knocked on the door, but number two, I think the mindset was just go ask them. Well, yeah, but we had to make sure there was alignment there to make sure their values, their brand, things that they have on their bulletin board of things that they want to accomplish, fit with what we're doing as well.
And I want to say a couple of things real quick. This comment from Justin, glad to see the program is working. But what Alvin just touched on, I think this comment from Not Too Complicated, it's accurate because of how things used to be. and it's you can barely tell Houston Cougars exist in Houston. And Communicator, you followed many of the shows I've had on here on the Round Bar Review on YouTube. I've said it. Previous administrations did not reach out, did not ask, did not knock on those doors. So you hear Alvin say it. You hear the man himself, the chief revenue officer for Houston Athletics, said previous times, folks said no one ever asked us. So Alvin, thank you for saying that, because it is a different time. Different people are in charge at Houston Athletics. So as an alum, I'm glad to see that. No more of doing the same old thing, expecting different results. AD, you got another question? I'm sorry.
No, he sort of alluded to it. Go ahead, Chris. You know, I was about to head in a different direction, but I like the vein that we was moving in now.
Alvin, this is, I think, an obvious question, but how beneficial is it that Houston has finally received the full share from the Big 12?
Well, it's been essential because, especially the timing of our first year being full share during fiscal year 26, the whole the revenue sharing that came forth from the House settlement, it gave us an opportunity to where we were able to operate at the top of the cap because of it. If we were not full share this past year, we would have had to make some tough decisions. I'm not saying we wouldn't have done it, but it would have been a lot harder, and it would have been a lot of hard, tough conversations would have had to been had if we were not full share.
AD, you had another question?
Yeah, Alvin, it really made just ticked off another question. Alvin, with you all being in the Big 12, we just talked about the Big 10 and the SEC and what they're doing with the sports bill. Mm-hmm. Do y'all feel like y'all the third wheel, the third leg on the stool? Or I mean, I'm just trying to, with you being in this position, trying to raise funds, looking at the overall conference and the way it's going to approach things. Is there sort of some synergy between where you are working and what you're doing, and then sort of lockstep, and then where the conference is moving?
Well, when you said third chair, are you referring to the conference?
The third leg on the stool, because basically everybody, we sort of talk about the SEC and the Big Ten because of what they can and cannot do, or what they want to do. But you still got the ACC out there. You got the Big 12. And U of H is a viable component now, particularly when you're talking about basketball, and now football is coming back with all the other ancillary sports that's within the U of H domain. I'm just sort of curious as to how are y'all looking at, how are y'all seeing yourselves fitting in with what the Big 12 message is trying to go out there with, as far as a Power 4 or Power 5, whatever.
Man, we feel like we belong. We're doing everything that we can. Like I said earlier about where we are with, especially the Big 2 football, men's basketball. You give the SEC and the Big 10 credit. Really, that it is stemmed from a 2 decades worth of consistent national championships in football. That's really how they've kind of propelled themselves forward, is the brand recognition when it comes to hoisting a trophy in January in football. But when it comes to being able to go toe-to-toe with those conferences, right now, we're not so much trying to compete with other people as Coach Sampson has a saying, and I've said on other things, you got to get rid of losing before you can start talking about winning. And right now, we're looking at ourselves internally right now and trying to figure out how do we make sure our processes, procedures, and the things that we're doing, we're as efficient as we can be, to where every time an opportunity presents itself, we're ready. If we're always looking over our shoulder and even looking forward, that's it doesn't help if we're not prepared internally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Alvin, where did you work prior to coming to Houston?
Did a stint. So before Houston, Mississippi State, but prior to that, Purdue University, University of South Alabama, UAB, and I actually got my career started as a graduate assistant at Mississippi State as well.
Laquita, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. I always have to advocate for my women's sports, and so Is it difficult, or let me ask it like this? Because obviously we know there's a gap between what the men are doing and what the women are doing, especially on your particular campus. So with knowing that and you being in the position that you are, do you have to handle it like that? Meaning, what's the draw for the women's side? Like, how do you pull in the dollars and how do you put in the unique opportunities and sponsors and partners and things, considering the women's, specifically the women's basketball side? Just going and looking at how empty it is when we go to the games and how things just kind of look like, okay, what's going on here? How do you address that, and how do you go about making sure that your women's sports is also gonna be fed through all of this in unique ways that might be different than what you're doing for the men's side?
I actually love that question because it's a priority for us. And I don't think if you look at our women's sports, we have no one can say we're not taking women's sports seriously here. We've made coaching changes. We've improved their operating budgets. We've done everything that we can to make sure the roster management wise, our coaches have what they need. Right now we've got to get across the finish line, win some more games. We hired a new chief branding officer who, if you all have not met her, very very dynamic. Her name is Alexis Williams. And so me and Alexis kind of work hand in hand. She oversees the branding side of the house, and I'm on the revenue side of the house. And we're working hand in hand to look at how do we draw more people to women's basketball, to softball, to our track meets when we host
Volleyball.
volleyball. Our soccer's getting started. We have some wonderful student athletes. And I'll tell you, every time we sit down with corporate sponsors, this comes up because they want to know. How can they be a part of women's sports, not just men's basketball and football. It is something that we are taking serious. We have implemented a mechanism called sport huddles, to where now starting this school year we have subgroups for every sport, and that we will meet weekly to talk about the elevation and promotion of each of them. Not just, it's the same meetings that we have for football, we're going to have for women's tennis. They're all important.
Alvin, touch on the hire of Alundis Pledge
Yes.
and what he's hired to do at Houston.
So Alundis has come in to oversee fan engagement. So fan engagement. One thing that we looked at was, we can't control the whole wins and losses as from administration. We can't control when you come to a game. We cannot control if we win or lose the game. We want to win all of them. I hope we win all of them. It makes my job a whole lot easier. We win all of them. But what we can control in the best way possible is how do we make you feel. And so Alundis has been brought in to bring the wow factor. From the time you walk through the gates, the doors of our arena or our venues, do we have your attention from start to finish? What's going on the field during timeouts? What's going on the video board? What music is playing? The customer service? How are you being greeted? The signage. So that's Alundis' role.
Earlier in the show, you mentioned that Houston Athletics is in the red zone regarding some corporate deals. Can you give us an indication of a timetable of when some of those deals could be finalized, announced?
Well, I would say probably here somewhere in the next 6 to 18 weeks. I feel good about some of the ones we have on the pipeline right now.
And are you involved with the discussions pertaining to the jersey patch sponsorships?
So I'll be honest with you, a goal of ours this upcoming year, the three biggest premium assets that are formalized with our department are the jersey patch, the court logo in men's, women's basketball, and the field logo in football. So we had, we were just all transparency, the field logo. We had someone come to the table with a seven-figure annual sponsorship deal, and we're still working through some details. Won't happen this year. Well, I won't say won't happen. There's still an outside chance, but the way we have some mechanism on our field, some other names and entities on our field that didn't make it possible for that particular sponsor. So we've got another one on the table right now, but the one that came forward this summer, there were just some things that we just couldn't do um, from a orientation standpoint with things that are already on our field. But we will have a corporate sponsor on our field at some point, whether it's this year or going into 27. A court logo, we're in active conversations right now. We are a year away from actually getting a new court as well. So that's playing a factor too of our court can't be sanded again. I don't want to go get it to the minutia, but it's play more of a player safety thing right now. But we're getting a new court next year. And so making sure that when that new court goes down, you see a corporate logo on it when it goes down. Jersey patches, we're in the thick of it. We'll see what happens. What company right now is looking today? There are 12 of the 68 Power Fours have gotten their jersey patch deal done. I've been told there's probably 4 to 6 more that will probably be announced before the season. But we are working through that right now. To be honest with you, it's more than just dollars and cents for us. It's alignment. If our student athletes are going to have, one thing you always talk about, you tell your kids, you're not just playing for the name on the back of your jersey. Y'all heard, you've seen it in movies.
Yeah.
You're playing for the name on the front. Well, all of a sudden now you're putting a jersey patch on the front of the jersey, and so you represent not just University of Houston, not just the Big 12, but now you represent that company. But that company is also a representation of us.
Right.
So there's got to be true alignment there of what do we want to represent just as much as how they want to be represented as well.
Question from Wanda Polk.
Yeah.
Is a fan appreciation day planned for football prior to the start of the season?
Yes, Ms. Polk. I'm blanking right now. I apologize. But off the top of my head, there's a fan day planned for August 14th. Don't quote me on that. I will make sure I call you tomorrow with the exact date. But August 14th is the date that's coming to my mind right now.
Yeah, that goes right along with something else I was thinking about as far as your season ticket holders. Like, do you have creative things, incentives to keep them to continue their holders of that season ticket?
Yes, we're actually working through all of that, all those things, and that's a part of Alexis just getting here, Alundis getting here, and us talking to through as we continue to grow, want to make sure retention stays front of mind as well. As many new people we need to bring on, we got to make sure the people that are already on board stay on board with us.
Alvin, I'm not sure, but I'm going to present this question to you anyhow. If you have the answer to it, this is from C. Anthony. What did the Texas Bowl bring in for UH?
So bowl games, I don't know if people know, but the bowl game revenue actually goes to the conference and is dispersed evenly. So yeah, just like we get a portion of Texas Tech making the playoff last year. That's a part of the revenue distribution for the entire league.
And regarding Houston Blue, each team, will each Houston team have a game where they wear Houston Blue this season?
Yes, but we've actually changed the mantra going into this year, and so the game has been themed the Houston Blue game over the last couple of years. It's been called Houston Blue, Houston Blue. Going forward, what I alluded to earlier about Built by Houston will now be the Built by Houston game. And so because the blue is the reason we tried to do this was relatability to the city. So every year, especially, and so we're going to start with football when it comes to this mechanism. We're going to pay homage to something that represents the city. So I'm not going to spoil it. I can tell that people will be very, very excited to see what we're going to do. the October 3rd game versus UCF. Be very, very unique. It will catch some national attention. People will be very, very excited to see what we do. But this year, we will honor NASA this year. And so NASA will be honored this year with our Built by Houston game. And then we got a surprise for 2027. We're already in the works with our team will wear custom helmets. I'm not at liberty to say what they will look like, but they'll be really, really nice.
Well, you've already told us one thing right there about the game against UCF, because UCF, being in Orlando, they claim to be Space City or whatever
Yeah.
whatever. So bless their hearts. Laquita, hey, do you have any more questions before we wrap it up with Alvin here on this edition of Folks Talking Sports?
Yeah, I would like to turn Alvin. Excuse me. I saw in your background that you had worked on some diversity programs, in your prior career. Has, with the political climate, when everything, that word seems to be a bad connotation. Are you getting pressure politically, or y'all getting pressure politically to have even just not even enunciate that word or anything related to that as far as your sports programs?
Well, no, it's not so. No, I'll be honest. I mean, our programs, we showcase that naturally. By the makeup of our rosters, but
Right.
also we are. It is what it is. I mean, we are a state institution, so we have to abide by state law.
And I'm going to kind of answer this question, Alvin. If you know this off the top of your head, please chime in. But how many nationally televised games for football this season? The ones that have been announced: Oregon State on September 5th is on ESPN.
Yep.
The game against Texas Tech on the 18th is on Fox. Game against Colorado, I think, ESPN. And then those are the three that have been announced already. So am I missing anything about?
No. And then, as we get closer, 12-day window. So
Right.
we find out. So our Georgia Southern game, we'll find out on September 14th, Monday the 14th, we'll find out our game time for Georgia Southern. And then the following week on the 21st, we'll find out our game time for UCF. But that's typically what happens until we get into kind of mid-October, and then the Big 12 goes into some 6-day slides where we'll find out on Sundays leading up to a game. But until then, I would say, right now, tentatively speaking, don't quote me. Fletcher's gonna kill me for saying this, but I anticipate 10 to 11.
I agree. Majority of the games will be,
Yes.
10
10
The Southern game will be on ESPN Plus, and other than that, I think everything else will be pretty much televised on a national platform.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the potential of Houston teams playing international games in the future?
Eddie has been engaged with those conversations. I mean, we're gonna take every call. That doesn't mean we're gonna actually do it, but we'll take every call and listen and see if it's advantageous. It is not just advantageous for. We don't look at just is it advantageous for us financially only. Is it advantageous for our student athletes? If it's a game where it puts us at a disadvantage the following week, especially from just a overall player well-being standpoint, probably not going to do it, right? That, and then also, is it advantageous for our fans? Is it something that's alluring to them? Is it something, if it takes away from the most anticipated, you just talked about, retention of season ticket holders, right? If it's something that takes away from the allure of the season ticket package, is it worth it? So those are things that we have to take into account when those. But we're going to take every call and listen, and then see if it works. And if it works, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
And this final thing with Alvin, bring up this statement from Justin regarding TNT and Big 12 football. TNT hasn't really announced the conference games, but TNT will carry like 13 conference games, Big 12 conference games.
Yep.
So those haven't been announced. But the feedback from fans, and I think a lot of people last season enjoyed and appreciated the the TNT pregame show and the production of the coverage as well. Mm-hmm. So that's part of like a multi-year deal that Turner Sports has with the Big 12. So last year was not the end of it. It wasn't a one and done. There'll be, I think 5 more years of that Big 12 being on Turner Sports. And who knows about future deals, media rights, and the Big 12 partnering with WBD and Paramount, dare I say. Mr. Alvin Franklin, is there anything else you want to say in these final moments with you, sir?
No, it's always a pleasure. I can tell you that our student athletes are working hard, our coaches are working hard, our staff's working hard. We got a lot of new faces on our campus right now when it comes to new head coaches, with a bunch of new head coaches, new student athletes, and also new staff. And I can tell you that we're ready to make everybody Houston Cougar Nation proud this upcoming year.
Alvin, as always, I appreciate you taking time to speak with me, and this time speak with us on this platform. And as always, keep in touch. And when you have news to share, don't forget about me, brother. You got my number.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Alvin Franklin, the Chief Revenue Officer for Houston Athletics. Take care, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, as always.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Let me get Laquita on the screen here. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that. I think I did, too.
Yeah, I did, too.
There you go, Laquita. If I do it right, there we go. Anything you want to talk about these closing moments of Folks Talking Sports, episode 195?
Give us some texting updates.
Yeah, Mr. Moore.
Since you've been in that sun like that, give us some updates, man.
Well, Texas basically the first 4 days, the fans were out Saturday. That was the first fan day for the fans, but the Texans were still in the shells. But Monday, the pads come on, and it's like D'Amico Ryans. He had that little insidious grin on his face yesterday during the presser when I asked him about the fact that, did he see everything? And he just said, well, the pads come on. Because football is a game that you have to have pads on really to start seeing it. No, this is my term, basically, but he didn't say it, but this is sort of like separating the wheat from the chaff. He said, you're getting ready to find out who the true players are now. So, Monday, pads come on, and it will be a different tone out there. Yesterday during the practice with the fans, there was a couple of, I'm gonna call them like mini scuffles, whatever the case. Some folks got a little angst with one another, but that's to be expected. They've been looking at the same guy going on 4 days now, and now with the pads coming on, the intensity level, I think, is just gonna get ratcheted up more so, and the heat does not help it at all. But I think in the end, it'll be, as they say, iron will be sharpened quite well under that heat dome that we're under right now. So
You never lied. I've been seeing all the hate that CJ has been getting on his arrival for training camp. Since you have laid eyes on him yourself, like, how is he looking? Is he looking like he's in shape, ready to go, or he kind of looks like we got a lot of work to do?
No. CJ's leaner. And it seems like he's leaner, and his body seems a lot more chiseled. And let's say he's going into his 4th year now. Now, I know he's got everybody, and I'm gonna tell you why everybody's throwing it. His last two outings with the amount of interceptions and everything he thrown in those last 2 playoff games, some of those were his fault. Some of them that were not his fault. And I mean, let's be candid and tell the truth about it. But the bottom line, he's the man. He's the man with the ball in his hand on every snap when they're on offense, and they want to see this team deliver, and particularly want to see him get back to that CJ that we saw his first year in the league. And I think he's gone through some metamorphosis. I think it's some maturity level. I think a lot of things he's learned, and from everything we've heard and talking and just folks, he put his head down and he's just working. He's basically he's tuning out all this this fluff anger, misdirected anger, whatever the case, at him. Some of it is justifiably so. Some of it is not. A lot of it is not. So I think he's just gonna put his head. He's putting his head down, and he's just forging ahead. He's got some weapons to go around him. That's the key, and the weapon starts up front. Let's go ahead and and that's what I've been sort of honing in, watching the offensive line, the development and play, and now with the pads coming on, I'm definitely want to see how with the pads being on and going against that deep and going against that signature defense that the Texans have has put on the field for the last couple of years. I want to see how this offensive line is going to go against these guys, and so that to me, I'm basically putting the offensive line will be under a microscope because with all the weapons we have, if you can't move anybody off the ball on line of scrimmage to run the ball, and I think there's going to be a bigger emphasis on running the ball. Especially when you got David Montgomery has come over from Detroit, and with everything else that they want to throw into play, you got the wide receivers, and
Hold up, Mr. Moore. I put the question on the screen. You didn't answer the question. How do you feel about Clowney coming back to the Texans?
I just think they added another piece. They just added another piece because the thing about it. If the Texans, I think with D'Amico Ryans coming back, I think basically what he wants to look at is that he wants somebody. If we got to win 11-10, we're going to win 11-10. Bottom line. And Clowney just gives them another piece to add out there.
Fill in the blank, sir. Mr. Moore, you will be surprised if the Texans... What?
If the Texans... 12-5?
You'll be surprised?
No, I won't be surprised.
No, that's a question. You will be surprised if the Texans
I would be
fill in the blank.
surprised. I would be surprised if the Texans don't get over the hump this year. And by that I mean get to the AFC Championship game.
You will be surprised.
This has to be the year. This has to be the year. This has
right?
to be
That's
the
what you're saying, AD? You're saying you will be surprised if they get off the hump?
No, I'm not gonna be. But that mean to me, all right. They're asking me. To me, that I'm treating the question in a reverse order, in a reverse meaning. I'm not. I expect those. I anticipate and I expect this team as is and with the composition as it is right now, with the pieces where they are and what they have. I expect the Texans ought to be one of the teams in the AFC Championships this year. Period.
But you also said, I think, Justin is kind of saying this as well, but you said, sir, this team is going to the big game.
Yeah, I plan on. You know what?
You'll be there. Yes, you'll be there. But you said that you'll be there seeing the Texans play in the big game.
Yeah, and why not?
Okay.
Why not? Because when the one team that the Texans lost to this past year, the Seattle Seahawks, I thought that the Seattle Seahawks, out of all the teams or the losses that they sustained, the Seahawks whooped them. They literally whooped them. They laid it on them. They whooped them up front. And to me, I think this is where, and this is something that D'Amico Ryans is emphasizing more and more. The offensive side of the ball has to be just as intense and as determined, as rugged as the defensive side of the ball. And that's what I'm definitely want to look forward to now with the pads coming on. I want to see that. I want to see that level. And it's some of the new offensive linemen they got out there. I definitely want to see how once the pads come on, how they really react.
All right, last thing, and then we'll wrap it up. Do you agree with this from not too complicated Rams versus Texans in the big one?
Who said the Rams gonna get there?
He did. He's putting it out there. Do you agree with that?
I agree with the Texans. I don't necessarily say the Rams. It could be the 49ers. It could be the Seahawks coming back in out there.
Okay, you're saying the Texans. That's what you're focused on, right? The Texans.
Yeah, I'm focusing on the Texans. The NFC would take care of itself. But you got here's the thing about it. You February 14th, you're not gonna be there unless you take care of your business. So the Texans need to go take care of their business, and whoever's on the other side of the ball just got to go play them.
Fair enough. And on that note, I'm gonna toss it to Mr. Football first, and then I'll toss to Laquita, and we'll wrap it up. So, Mr. Moore, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, as always, folks, thank you very much. I appreciate it. That's right. You can IG threads, AdMax Corner, Twitter, AD_more, and also the AdMax Corner YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, please do so. But you can follow me on all those particular platforms. Hey, folks, like I said, it's time. It's gritty. It's getting gritty out there, and I'm having fun out there. And also, I do a rap out there after each camp, after each day of practice. Except the one Saturday, Chris, I had a nice rap, and come to find out, you had gave me a hard time on with the new mic, and guess what? I did all that hard work, and the sound didn't work. So I'm going like, oh well, what the heck? That happens. That happens.
Yes, yes, I hear you, AD. That has happened to me before. Let me tell you about it. A couple of things today. One is I'm excited about the Bright Like Lucy Foundation camp. They are partnering with us, the Houston Rockets, and we're going to have that camp coming up this week. And it's for young girls. And I just want to put that out there because this is a special foundation for a young lady who loves science, who loves sports and music. Basketball was her thing. And so this foundation is put in place because of her. And for those of you don't know, she was one of the little girls who lost her life because of the flood at the camp that they were having at that particular time. And so I'm excited to be able to kind of impart and empower young girls and the families that's going to be in that foundation. And if you would like to be a part of that and give, it's the Bright Like Lucy Foundation. So anything that you'll be willing to share with that family and with their foundation, they're geared for STEM, they're geared for girls, they're geared for education, and anything youth that's based upon what their little girl loves so much. And the second thing I want to first thank all of you who have bought the playbook Beyond the Game. And I'm going to be working with some of those players who have purchased the ebook and kind of guide them along the booklet and help them along with decision making. And again, I want to let you know, athletes, we're getting ready for a new year, new season. Parents, we're getting ready for new things. If you're keeping up with NIL and Congress and things that are going on, now is the time to get educated and to put your place in the right positioning as you get ready to go to the table to advocate for yourself. So again, I'm going to put that out there, and I'm going to continue to promote this and update and grow it. The playbook Beyond the Game is an ebook that's going to help you make better decisions or for your collegiate career, your professional life, and your life after sports. So keep up with me on my IG, which is my name, Laquita Thompson, as well as the website that is down here below. And keep up with everything we're doing to help you be successful. All right. Thanks so much, Chris.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to my colleagues, Laquita Thompson and A.D. Moore, and of course, Mr. Alvin Franklin, the Chief Revenue Officer for Houston Athletics. Just want to put my shiny bald head on the screen here so you can see the IG and Threads account for Folks Talkin' Sports. Hope you enjoyed it. Spread the word about this show, the platform. It is unique. It is different. We do things differently here. Folk Talkin' Sports is part of the Houston Roundball Review Media Group, as is the Ad Max Corner. But please follow IG and Threads, Folks Talkin' Sports. That will do it for this edition, episode 195 of Folk Talkin' Sports. Until next Sunday, we'll do it again for episode 196. I am back. Now the school starts officially tomorrow for staff. My work schedule will change because I'll now be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning until the end of the school year. So things will change with that as well. So I'm going to adjust accordingly, and I encourage you to do the same thing. But for Laquita Thompson, A.D. Moore, thank you to Justin, Not Too Complicated, Coug fans, Queen Wanda Polk, everyone who added comments or questions. We hope you appreciate it. MC Coug, thank you. Until next time, you know this. Since 1994, the Houston Round Ball Review. Local name, global perspective. Everyone, take care. Peace.